This podcast is brought to you by our supporters over at Patreon. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out more about our Patreon, where you can support the show directly and get tons of bonus content, including a bonus episode every other month and instant access to the dozen or more bonus episodes already there. That's patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers. And with me, as always, is my fellow counselor in training, the Macho Man Drew.
Andrew Lano. Although I never made it to CIT. I think you did, but I did not.
I was a full-on counselor. I made a whopping $500 my first summer. And then...
I mean, that's not nothing for a 17-year-old? 16-year-old?
14-year-old.
Yeah, for a 14-year-old, that's like...
It's basically $2 an hour. It's pretty...
Yeah, but for a 14-year-old, be like, I had to go to camp and they'll give me $500? That seems...
I asked for a raise the second year and they just didn't respond to me. And then a month later, I had to be like, hi, do I have a job?
And they said no? Or no?
No, they gave me a job. They did not. I think they might have given me an extra $50. But yes, I thought you had done the CIT.
I don't think I made it that far.
CIT? Okay. Well, you started to have like your interests lined up such that weren't you doing like theater stuff at that point? Like, didn't you change to a theater-based camp system?
It wasn't necessarily theater-based camp. It was like teen summer shows. So it was
okay.
It's like essentially a camp, but it's not really a camp. It's more just like we are rehearsing at night, putting on a show during the summer.
Gotcha. Well, we're talking summer camps because we watched 1979's Meatballs. This was a suggestion from our Patreon supporter, Michelle. Thank you so much for your longtime support of the show. And let's hear it from Michelle about Meatballs.
Hey, Trip and Andrew, this is Michelle. Just wanted to say I'm looking forward to listening to my listener choice that you selected last week, which is Meatballs. This is a movie I watched constantly as a preteen when it was released on HBO. And I remember actually I audio taped the songs with my GE box tape recorder to make my own version of a mixtape because I didn't have the money to buy soundtracks back then. But I hope you have fun with this. It's very much a late 70s, early 80s, possibly some problems from a PC standpoint and such, but hopefully it was fun. I remember I just wanted to go to camp so bad as a 11-year-old when I saw this movie. So hope you guys have some fun with it. Thanks as always. Love the show.
Well, as she said, we watched Meatballs, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your boring body comedy. Someone's got about your boring body comedy.
When the Mega Powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega Powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
So I see how we disagree on this. We had a very brief before the show started chatter. I see.
Just a sentence back and forth.
I thought this was a body comedy. It's not a body comedy. It's just a sweet comedy. It's like a Heavyweights.
It's just so boring.
It's so funny. I found this movie so sweet. I was like shocked by how much I enjoyed this.
And also, so like this is also a weird thing for me. The only experience and like quote unquote knowledge of Meatballs I had up until I watched the movie was a YouTube show that I like to watch. I hadn't watched it much anymore. It was called Beer and Board Games. They drank beer and played board games. And one of the board games was like the movie quote game or whatever, and they had to guess. Okay. And so the only exposure to Meatballs I had were two quotes. And out of context, and hearing that it's a movie called Meatballs, which is a wacky comedy about summer camp, my brain formed a picture, and it is not what it, so the two quotes were the World Sexual Awareness Week quote.
Yes.
And the quote about whoever guessed some kind of beef is the winner of the mystery meat. And so because
that best quote of the movie.
Because those are the only two quotes, I thought they were spoken in earnest in the kayfabe. So I thought this was going to be like more wacky, goofy, like sketch thing.
Police Academy, Porky's,
Mel Brooks, or that. What was that horror movie we watched?
Okay,
or the horror movie spoof we watched with Carol Kane.
Oh my god.
Whatever
I
that
don't
one
remember
was.
The name of that. Yeah.
Pandemonium? Or is that a different one?
Yes. Pandemonium was also a sketch movie, but I don't know if that's the Carol Kane one.
But I was expecting something like that. And so when it wasn't, I was like, oh, well, this is disappointing because.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I was expecting like in the opening sequence when the girls are like, did you bring smokes? I was like waiting for the girl to like open her trench coat and be like, what, menthol, filtered, unfiltered, gold, camel? Like I was waiting for that. And when it clearly wasn't going to become that, I was like, oh, well, that's a bummer. And then like it doesn't really have a plot or conflict. Like there's no.
The whole thing with Rudy. There's like this whole thing.
So I'm sorry, you're going to hinge a 90-minute whack around camp comedy on this child character that like apparently has a dead mom, but I don't remember hearing that in the movie. Wikipedia says that. Yeah,
I also was like, oh, he must have a dead mom, and I kept waiting for that to come up, and I did not hear it specifically. I'm bummed. So here's the thing, though. I went into this expecting like Revenge of the Nerds, Porky's avenue, where I was like, this is going to be like horrendous sexual politics of the 70s. Of course, this is 79. Like, this is going to be like horrendous sexual politics. It's going to be like really gross, because I've definitely seen one of the sequels. And in fact, just to run this down, or I'll do that in a second. So I was expecting like a sort of like raunchy boy comedy with lots of naked women and like lots of misogyny and stuff. And instead it's just this like very sweet hangout movie about like kids going to camp. And I just really was surprised by how delightfully like small scale and just like your classic slobs v snobs setup. It does like so many camp movies after this, and this maybe isn't the first one, but it's certainly the earliest one I've seen, where it's like the group across the lake is the rich snobs and we're the kind of ragtag group, and then they have like a big competition, like all these beats. I was like, yeah, I've seen these before.
I was waiting for it to be the rich camp is buying their lease from under them and they have to raise money, or
right.
And then, like, all of a sudden at the end, like, if the rich kids were cheating at half the events, and I was like, well, shouldn't they just be, like, real? Like, I was like, no, our scrappy ragtag gang should have to cheat to win. And that's, like, that's what I expect, that, like, we're the underdogs. Look, they're way better than us at everything. We gotta cheat a little bit, which, like, I thought that was going to be the case, and it wasn't. So, like...
No, they win with the power of friendship. I thought this would be... I'm so surprised. I was, like, so expecting. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be this, like... really tough sexual politics movie, and Andrew's gonna be hating it the whole time through. And instead I was like, oh, I bet this is like great up his alley. It's just like a bunch of sweet, cool friends that like each other. This is such his bag. It's so funny.
It was so boring. There was no
you don't have to feel
plot
like defensive
or conflict.
I'm
like
surprised.
I kept waiting for a thing to happen, and then they were like, the Olympiad's tomorrow, and I was like, it's an hour into this 90-minute movie, and this is the first I'm hearing. Like, it's not when they get to camp, they're like, and get ready for the big decath or whatever the hell at the end of camp.
I think you don't like a hangout movie is what I'm coming to.
Well,
discover.
what would be another hangout movie?
Almost Famous is a hangout movie.
I've watched it a while ago, but I haven't watched it since.
Yeah. That was one of those times when I was like showing somebody something important and like really disappointed in the reaction to it, and then having to like learn the lesson of like, you can't put that on somebody. It's not fair.
Yeah.
But like I had not learned that.
But I also was not in a mindset. Like, I think now I would appreciate that movie more than I would have at 15 or whatever the hell I was.
Yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood comes to mind. That's a recent example that I doubt you've seen.
Been on the list. I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other... I'm struggling to come up with another one, but
Clerks?
I know that we watched it. Clerks is kind of a hangout movie, yeah. Yeah, I would say Clerks is a hangout movie. It's just like, it's like... We're very Supreme Court definition-y, but like hangout movie is generally like not a ton going on. Like you're really just like hanging out with characters, and the movie, like the hook of the movie is that you kind of engage with the characters on some level. Like there's something about them that appeals them. So with this one, it's like, it's both a hangout movie, which maybe is not your steez. I don't want to like declare that based on the limited evidence, but I know definitively that you do not like Bill Murray.
I don't.
So it is like,
also he's
like
too old
Bill
for this
Murray
movie.
hangout
I'm sorry. He's too fucking old for this movie.
I see. He has such a youthful energy in it.
And 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah,
he looks like Homer Simpson.
He's supposed to be like 22.
Huh?
He's supposed to be like 22.
And he's 30.
Or 25.
that was the other weirdly unclear thing. I was like, is he supposed to be like the second in command to Morty?
Yes, definitely.
That was not super clear, but I was like, it's all these like hot
29 in this
20-year-olds.
Just FYI.
What?
He's 29 in this
Yeah, he's
movie,
30.
So he's not. Oh, you said 35.
No, I said 30.
Oh, okay.
But it's all these like hot 20-year-olds counseling literal children, and then 30-year-old Bill Murray actively shaving. And I was like, it feels weird. The dynamic is just not quite there.
Yeah, the better version of this movie doesn't have the Morty character. Like, Morty is not the older owner of the camp. Bill Murray has, like, wound up as the head of this camp and has, like, you know, stuck with it in some way or whatever, and is, like, you know...
I can see
that's
that.
maybe better. But I do want to run down... So, part of the reason I had made assumptions about this movie is because of its sequels that I think played a lot on the
They probably cost
the
4 cents to put on the air.
All right, so get ready to go off the rails here. So this movie, sweet comedy, small scale, kids at a summer camp have adventures, blah 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 blah. Meatballs 2 is the same kind of slobs v snob setup, but across the lake is a military camp.
Classic.
Also, there's like the military camp is trying to buy the slobs camp.
So my thought for this movie.
Yes, and they decide like, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll have a boxing match at the end of the summer, our classic annual boxing match, and the winner of the boxing match determines whether the camp gets sold. Oh, also, there's an alien in it.
What?
Yep, it was like 2 years after E.T., and so they made this really odd looking alien that
Is the alien like a character throughout, or does it like show up at the end?
The alien, I just skimmed through it because like I watched this movie on Tubi and it was like, you just finished Meatballs. How about Meatballs 2? And
it's also free on YouTube, like legally and under YouTube's free movies and stuff.
I kept clicking on that and it wouldn't load for me.
Maybe it like just started today or something, but it is.
Oh, okay.
I watched it free HD legal.
Okay. Tubi, has ads, so same deal. If you have the YouTube subscription, it won't have ads there, but it's available a lot of places with ads. But okay, so Alien, and the alien shows up like early-ish in the movie, and I was like skimming through, but the alien has like multiple scenes. It's a character in the movie.
Huh. And then the third one is Patrick Dempsey as Rudy.
And the plot of that one is a porn star has died, and in order to get her wings Clarence style in What's Wonderful Life, she has to go back to Earth and get a virgin laid, and that virgin is Rudy.
And it's not at a summer camp.
It looked like a summer camp.
No, I think he worked it said he worked somewhere. So I don't. Maybe he worked at a summer camp.
He's a summer camp. He's a camp counselor.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watched the trailer for that. That one is not available anywhere, so I just watched the trailer for that one. And
Patrick Dempsey Disney was like, "You are not. That movie is dying. You were in Disenchanted. That movie is dying.
you are every mom's crush. We are not letting you."
Well, he's not anymore. That ship kind of sailed when he left Grey's Anatomy.
Well, yeah. Right. Make something or other.
Dreamy, steamy, creamy. That show is wild.
It's still on.
I always wanted to joke that I wanted to have a podcast called That's Still on the Air, and it was just recapping Supernatural and Grey's Anatomy, and then Supernatural ended.
Yes. Okay, and then Meatballs 4, we've got Corey Feldman. It's shot at the same place where they shot The Great Outdoors, Bass Lake in California.
Okay.
And that one has 5 naked women, breasts and butts inside 10 minutes.
Jesus H.
It's the sequence in this movie where they're spying on the girls, but instead of it being them like kind of listening to them under the cabin, they are just looking at them in the shower, Porky's style.
Gross.
So anyway,
also
wild franchise, very different.
The beginning of this movie, in the opening sequence of the "Ready for the Summer" song, that like, oh Jesus, yes. Children singing. It's like they're painting around a sleeping counselor on the dock, and then the windows keep breaking, and I was like, oh, so
the window gag is good. You have to give me the window gag.
I love all the energy of this opening sequence.
Oh, okay.
But that all set me up for the wacky, stupid comedy stuff that I thought I was gonna get, of more of like they hold in the glass pane and they duck under the ball. They're like, you kids, and then a ball comes from the other direction to break it. Like,
really good.
All that, like all that physical comedy, I loved. And the counselor like rolling over and his belly is painted. Like, that's what I wanted from the whole movie.
Okay. I get that. I understand that completely. This is Ivan Reitman, by the way, before he broke big and became, Ghostbusters and
Does he still do
everything
stuff,
that
or did
came
he pass
after.
away?
He I thought was a producer on that new Ghostbusters that his son directed. So I think he's still around.
Is that streaming anywhere yet? I keep waiting.
It must be. It's been so long. It's fine. It's like aggressively fine. He died in February 22, so
wow.
that was the last thing he worked on. It's like aggressive.
Yeah, like I don't. I expected. I want to watch it just to watch it, but like,
yeah,
I want to see Janine. My girl.
She's in it for 42 seconds.
Shocking.
Just to set your expectations.
I assumed that she was a Jeff Goldblum in that first JP.
Can I spoil something for you?
Is it like key, or is it just like a thing that happens? Like, don't spoil like Dana gets possessed by Zool. But if you're like,
all right, then I won't.
Okay, like that, I don't. I would like to have something.
Yeah, okay, I won't. I won't, because I think it is exactly the thing it is plot specific, as you're saying. It is not Dana and Zool. But Janine is in it for about 40 seconds. This is gonna sound crazy.
I assume they're all in it for 45 seconds, except maybe Bill Murray.
No. No. Oh, the whole gang is there, and they are pretty big parts of the movie. So they're a bunch. Yeah. That is the part of the movie that's very strange. But the thing of it is, as a person who has said multiple times and continues to say that his favorite movie genre is kids in peril, I don't particularly want kids in my Ghostbusters cereal. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like, that's just not. It's not. And then also, like, the fun of Ghostbusters is that it takes place in a city, and the sequel is in like bumfuck Iowa, and it's just like,
yeah, they're in like a cornfield and shit.
Like, there is literally a sequence that takes place in a Walmart, and it's just like, I don't. First of all, I do not want this Walmart ad in the movie. Thank you.
That's where the cute little marshmallows are, though. So I'm happy for that.
But it's
I like cute shit.
It's like, what are we doing here? Like, why is this the thing? And it commits the biggest sin of all, which is like, it does the Ghostbusters 2 thing again, where everyone, like, no one knows about the Ghostbusters. And like, yeah, okay, fine. It happened 40 years ago, but literally a portal to hell opened in New York City in the 80s. It's like kids who are like going to school now know what 9/11 is because they learn about it in history books. And the time a portal to hell opened up in New York City and engulfed a building would be like a historical document worthy of note, would it not?
I would think so. You're right.
So that part drives me a little insane, where Paul Rudd's like, oh my God, that's a proton pack. That's a ghost trap. Where'd you get that? And they're like, my grandpa's shed. And they're like, what? Your grandpa was a Ghostbuster? What's a Ghostbuster? Oh, let me show you it on YouTube. And it's just like, why is this in the movie? Who is this for?
Yeah.
Who is at this movie that doesn't know this information?
They don't want to take any chances anymore. That's why every fucking movie is an origin story, so they don't have, like, you don't have to, you can learn as you go.
Right. This does that stuff too. Anyway, Ivan Reitman directed this, and we open up with this shot of of Bill Murray like waking up, and he's doing the morning announcements, which becomes like a recurring gag throughout the movie. But he's doing them like just for the counselors who seem to be setting up camp. I guess this is like, end of May into June, but he goes to put on the national anthem, and it's of course not the actual national anthem, but it was driving me insane that his turntable, the like non-slip mat that the record goes on, was off-centered, and he had a 45 on top of it, and so it was like wobbly looking, and it was driving me nuts.
I didn't catch that.
We get the great rule of 3 glass break and the fixing up camp montage.
Is it just 3? I thought there were more. I thought it seemed like there were like 5 or 6.
No, it's a perfect rule of 3. It's it breaks out of the window, and then they're carrying the replacement. It does the gag with the ball, like you said, and then it shows them like putting on the finishing touches and like giving it like the job well done, and they shut the door and the other one falls out.
Okay,
good heightening, well done. I dig it. And then we're like getting introduced to the camp counselors, and Bill Murray's like, there's the king of sex, and he points to Spaz, who's the clear nerd character with tape on his glasses.
He's fucking hot, so get out of here. Get out of here, movie. Like, you couldn't even. They put like one zit on his forehead and tape on his glasses.
Tape on his glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
You know what? Like, Find someone not hot. Like this guy is.
He was not hot by the standards of 1979. I have to break this to you. He was not hot by the standards of the day.
He looks like all the other hot counselors, except he has shorter hair.
No, he's got a nerdy look to him. If you look at a picture of him now, you're like, that dude definitely is a nerd. Like as an adult, he looks.
I think if you took his glasses off, She's All That style, he would look almost identical to most of the other hot boy counselors. Also, we should acknowledge that spaz is not a nice term overseas.
Yes. Yeah, I have learned this, and I was very confused by it. It's like, I gotta be honest with you. I know this podcast has international listeners. It's very difficult to keep up with it in one country, let alone globally.
Yeah.
So I will just ask for leniency.
That's what I'm saying. We're just going to acknowledge it up top.
Yeah. Do our best, but I just would ask for leniency when you're talking about something in a different country than where I live. I try to be worldly and informed, but I am limited in my scope. I do love what 70s teenagers look like. It's funny to me that you were like so on about the Bill Murray thing, because I feel like all these people are supposed to be playing 18. They're probably actually 20 to 25, but all of them look about 30 to me, and Bill Murray looks about 40.
I mean, either way, he looks. There's a bump.
Yeah. I'm just saying. It's just like Bill Murray in this probably is like looking about 40. Not really, but whatever. But all these kids are like very old looking for their age.
Not as bad as we've seen before, I would say.
Right. It's fair.
Also, is that Michael Keaton?
Where? I did not catch a Michael
Keaton.
Keaton.
There's a guy. I don't think it is, because there's no way it wouldn't have be anywhere on Wikipedia or IMDb or Googling. But one of the Camp Mohawk counselor people looks like Michael Keaton. Like exactly like Michael Keaton.
Didn't we just run into this in not Beetlejuice.
Nope.
Edward Scissorhands, the other Tim Burton movie with the same vibes, where clearly that actress we both recognize was just not listed in the movie.
It was she was in Beetlejuice, but it was not Beetlejuice. It was Witches of Eastwick, and it was Conchata Ferrell.
Yes. Yeah. Conchata Ferrell is just like not listed in Witches of Eastwick, but it is absolutely Conchata Ferrell. Like it just is.
Yeah. It's the guy. So he's here bullying Spaz, and they dump the milkshake on his head.
I did not clock one of these dudes as Michael Keaton.
And then when they're doing boxing later, he's like the Camp Mohawk boxing coach.
Okay, I did not clock that dude as Keaton, so I don't think it is. I know the boxing coach character. I remember that scene a little better. So
from the Camp Mohawk guy with the glasses.
Are you saying he's the coach of the bad guy camp or the good guy?
The rival camp.
Yeah, I didn't. I remember him like rubbing the guy's shoulder or whatever. I don't remember it looking like Michael Keaton.
I swear it's Keaton.
Okay, I mean, somebody out there can fire up. We have this nice bit where they're doing like a new. It's like the kids, for whatever reason, all these camps pick up at a Kmart. And
back when they were a thing,
probably loves it.
Back when Kmart's roamed the earth.
It's funny. I watched this movie, and then one of my YouTube suggestions was like shopping at a Kmart in 1982. It was like home video footage or whatever, and it was like it looked like the exact Kmart from this movie. And I was like, all right, are they just like taking images of what plays on this screen?
Well, I wonder now, is Tubi and YouTube related?
No, but that's what I'm saying is like, is it my TV like it just is like screen scanning basically of like all the images on the screen. It's like if you watched a bunch of videos about, red balloons, suddenly they're like figuring out ways to feed red balloons to you.
I actually did have that, and now I can't remember what it was. I had a moment where I mentioned something random more than twice in a day, and then there was something on my YouTube recommends that I was like, that's weird.
Yeah. So they're doing like a news hit on this very expensive, the Snobs camp is very expensive. It's $1,000 a week, which is $4,000 a week now.
Jesus.
To give some context.
Also, the Snobs are not mean enough.
I mean, I feel like at the point where you're shooting a slingshot at a child swimming in a lake with a
but you're also a child. It's like an 8-year-old shooting at a 5-year-old.
Yeah, the slingshot I felt was like kind of insane that they were so casual about it.
I just I needed more.
A slingshot is a slingshot with a rocket in it is a weapon. It's not like a fun hijinks thing.
Tell that to Dennis the Menace. But I just
Isn't he shooting like gum?
I don't know.
Isn't he like lunching a wad of gum at Walter Matthau or something like that?
Mr. Wilson? I don't know. I know Mr. Wilson and Dennis the Menace, and that's where you've hit the end.
You absolutely must have seen the modern version with Christopher Lloyd as the weird hobo Joe.
Yeah, all I know is that Mr. Wilson is the neighbor.
Walter Matthau.
And Dennis is the boy. That's all I know about Dennis the Menace. And he is a menace.
He definitely had a slingshot. That's correct. Anyway, go ahead.
Like I needed more of them. Like they needed to like step on the Camp North Star people's bags or whatever. Like
okay.
Like I needed more. They just seem like kind of out of touch rich people.
Yeah, well, where the kid, like at the scene where the kid gets pulled up in a chauffeured car, and the chauffeur takes his golf clubs out, and they like lightly jostle, and he snaps at the chauffeur. Didn't do any of this for you.
The one thing, the one example,
and then another one dumped a milkshake on Spaz.
Yeah, but that didn't seem like rich people stuff. I needed like we're rich assholes. Every other movie in the 80s and the 70s did that. They knew how to be like, we're rich assholes. We have military bullets. We're going to buy your house. we're evil real estate people, and we're buying all the houses. Like, they all knew how to do it.
I think the thing is like they're not really the villains. Like there's not like it's not like that they're not trying to buy the camp out from under them and turn it into a golf course. You know what I mean? Like it's not. This movie is not about that. It's about a bunch of losers like winning through the power of friendship.
Yeah,
which is like your favorite theme. That's what's shocking to me.
It's just so boring. Normally you're winning the power of friendship in like an exciting way.
I thought the like friends getting together was the exciting part. Like connections being forged, love blossoming.
The treasure was not the friendships we made along the way.
the journey and the treasure.
Yeah, I need. It's our time down here. Give me some oomph.
I love Murray's shirt in this sequence. It's like a great Hawaiian shirt.
He's got a couple good Hawaiian shirts.
He does. He does for sure. But he like gets on the news and he starts acting like he's one of the heads of the snob camp and is like, and at the end of the semester or summer, not semester, we import 200 hookers to find out who is the King Lothario or whatever he calls it.
Yeah, that was the quote that I heard of him explaining that Sexual Awareness Week. They import all the hookers and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And this is where I learned that his name in this movie is Tripper because people start calling him Trip as like short for Tripper. And it's never explained if his name is like Jim Tripper or what. So that part I found very fascinating. But
this movie can't afford to explain anything.
They couldn't afford a first name. It was out of the budget.
You can't afford to include 5 seconds of dialogue that say my mom's dead. Like,
you know what's shocking that's not in this movie? Something about the food. There's not like a kitchen scene. Nobody's cleaning up food. Again, probably budget.
There's one where they're like eating in like a mess hall situation.
Right, but it's like the food is not. I'm saying a scene where like the food is the focus.
Yeah, it like gloops and globs.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's funny. I'm thinking about Heavyweights, which is a movie I loved. Maybe you didn't.
I like Heavyweights.
I don't remember.
But
I feel like Heavyweights doesn't have much of a plot. It's just like, I guess it has the Ben Stiller.
They think they're going to nice people fat camp where they actually aren't trying to help them lose any weight, and they're going to a real, we're actually going to make you lose weight fat camp,
right.
and they have to beat Ben Stiller.
You're right. There's a villain. I apologize.
They electrocute him. Like, they do a lot in that movie.
Yeah, they do. They do. They also, I think, knock him off a cliff and make him put his nose in somebody's butt.
They definitely do the butt. I don't know about the cliff. And then they tie one guy to a tree in the woods, which like is genuinely dangerous.
Laws. And then they rub honey all over him.
It's like obviously it ends up being deer and it's funny, but like that is a genuinely dangerous thing to do to a person.
I am Laz. I'm going to be your friend.
All the hiding places for the candy, like that movie has a lot going on.
I reference that so often, and I'm always assuming it's going to be like a Great Outdoors-esque reference when people are like, huh? And instead, Heavyweights is pretty ubiquitous, which is always a
that's good. That's interesting. It was Disney, right?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Written by Judd Apatow, believe it or not.
Oh, I did know that. That was one of those, in that weird, when he had his little renaissance like 10 years ago, there was like, here's things you didn't know.
Yeah. He didn't have a renaissance. He had a decade.
Yes, but I mean, like, when he, like, poof.
He was the king of Hollywood for 10 years.
Yeah.
So we have a 6-year-old in a cabin with a pet frog that is clearly dead.
I thought something bad was going to happen. I was like, please, I can't. I don't, like, I don't need to hop into a fire or, like, jump into a vat of chili or, like get sat on by a fat kid. Like, I really don't need this.
It's dead already. I don't know if that's better.
Instead, it's just dead, and then that's it.
You have a real Pet Cemetery approach to this frog. Sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes dead is better. I was like, I didn't want...
The chili is really killing me. I'm just imagining, like...
I was like, what are 80s movie comedy ways to kill a frog?
Of course, the chef is, like, a very fat man.
Sweat, like
huge,
a lot of sweat,
sweaty,
the greasy shirt.
And he, like, turns to wipe his brow, like he needs a fresh towel to wipe his brow, and the frog, like, ribbit into the chili. And then the kid who brought the frog gets served the frog.
I don't think it would be. I think it would be a mean kid would get it. That's a little too much to put it in the kids' bowl, but I think the mean kid would end up getting it.
Okay. Fair. That's the thing. There's no mean kids.
That's, again, like, what, this camp is just, like,
all friends.
We're just hanging out. There's no tension. There's no conflict.
That's again. It's a hangout.
There's no X. It's just two parallel lines. I need the X. Bill Murray has a really nice interaction with Rudy, the sad kid who lost his mom. That we don't know about that he lost his mom, but
it's funny. I wrote down, "Oh, this kid is sad," and just the dad dropped him off. Must be a dead mom, and I was like waiting for a dead mom revelation that never came. Yeah, but it is on Wikipedia, so it must be in there.
Maybe it's specified in the third movie.
It could be.
We got some real Brady Bunch ass instrumental music.
Yeah,
because it's
just like it's Elmer Bernstein, by the way.
But no, it's because it's a jaunty instrumental version of "Are You Ready for the Summer?"
Yeah,
which is what it's just the Brady Bunch does that all the time. That like like when it's going to be a serious sad moment.
I think that's what I liked about this. It did have like a pure Brady Bunch energy to it, which also had there's like no conflict on that thing either. Or even the movie version, there's no conflict in that bad boy. It's just like a sequence of things that happen to nice people.
But everything's very at a 10. Like the world is heightened. There's no heightened world. There's no anything.
I want to be very clear. It's fine that you didn't care for it. I'm not trying to convince you.
Well, no, I was trying. I just need to feel to explain. Like, at least that's like a campy, heightened world.
Right. Also, so this is where I got frightened because we have the 6-year-olds and then we go to the 14-year-old girls' cabin.
We talk too much about 14-year-old girls.
But it is shocking the way this is handled because Bill Murray's like. They have the drive and the equipment, but they don't know how to use it, and none of you better show them how to do it. And I was like, "Oh, great!
The message is great. The paper and the pen it's written with is not great, but the message is great."
And then the girls' counselors come through, and the girls like, it's the jailbait cabin
again. Not great.
Yeah.
Also, Roxanne should have been a big old lesbian.
She's the one that gets with Bill Murray?
Yeah. By some fucking stretch of the imagination, she ends up with Bill Murray. Should have been a big old lesbian. Like, keep her in hiking boots with tall white socks.
I mean, the outfits are very Subaru owner.
Very what?
Subaru owner?
Oh, yes. 100%.
So you mentioned it earlier, and I was jumping around in my notes. I was trying to find where we're at. I will say
the frog jumping into chili.
The frog jumping into chili is good, and we can come back to that. Oh, what if it's like one of those frogs that gets everybody high?
Oh,
it's the chili and they're high,
which would have been in the crazy, wacky skit version of this movie that I came up with.
We are apparently pitching Meatballs 2 through 4, and Meatballs 1. It was like, no, it's just like a small, sweet movie about camp. But on the sweet side of things, Murray. In his first scenes with Rudy, and then honestly throughout the whole movie, it's like such an effortless kindness and sweetness of the character where like he sees this kid needs this help and he just gives it to him and there's like no expectation of anything on the other side.
There's only one sequence of theirs I didn't care for when they're at the diner a little later and Because it starts nice. He's like, clearly like this kid's running away, but he's not saying you have to come back. He's not saying I know you're running away and it's wrong. He's like playing along. And then when he's like, I don't know how to play soccer, and the kids made fun of me, and Bill Murray goes on this like, let me make a 5-minute bit for this kid where I'm pulling out my Swiss arm. I'm like, hey, we can dial it back a little bit. I'm not paying $5 to come see you do improv, buddy. Just dial it down.
But it works for the kid.
Well, he doesn't love it then.
Okay, because I remember that the kid like really laughing hard at this, and it was like the moment
he laughed hard at the end.
Okay,
because like Bill Murray cracks jokes, obviously, but I was like, this is too long of a joke that's not that funny.
Yeah.
And he's like, when the kid's like, all right, I'll come back to camp with you, and Bill Murray's like, great. Do you have a set of wheels? Because I need a ride. Like, that's fun.
Yeah, and I thought this sequence was nice. I get what you're saying. That's fine, but the relationship between the two actors is very good, which is shocking because like it's a genuine kid.
Yeah, he's got like Sean Astin vibes. He's got a really cute face.
Yeah. Bad haircut, but
well,
it was 1979.
What are you gonna do about that 70s?
Yeah. So speaking of, the actor's name is Chris Makepeace, which I thought was like a kind of cool name.
I thought it was Native American.
I thought it might be, but he's Canadian, so whatever the equivalent would be.
Native
for
Canadian
to the north. I think they use
indigenous.
It might be indigenous. First Nations, I think, is the term that they use in Canada. In any case, I did not look that up, so I don't know. But what I did find really set me on a blast from the past, and I have not thought about this in almost 10 years probably, but I had a friend who was totally delighted upon discovering this Canadian television show called The Littlest Hobo. And I sent you...
Is Makepeace the one that did all the voiceover work? Because I looked up there's a couple people that I clicked on, and one of them did like a lot of voiceover, like was in Beetlejuice, was in RoboCop the series, was like did a lot of voiceover stuff.
I don't remember, but I do have a lot of information about which of these characters appeared in The Littlest Hobo. So
okay.
I sent you the promo for or it's like the intro and outro song of the show. Will you watch that and give us your live reaction? And I will put the audio for it in the show right now.
Okay.
When it happens.
Hang on.
So Littlest Hobo is a show about a dog, just so people know, and it's hobo in the sense of like person who rides
Hoboken.
The rails. I think. No, I think it's like the old school meaning of hobo, not the like term people use to mean homeless person. Or
I didn't know it meant anything other than homeless person.
No, it's like a rail rider, like on Futurama.
Oh.
If you recall, there was like a thing with like the space hobos and they were riding the rails.
Oh, I know that. Okay.
So I think it's like a specific type of like transient, like it probably is also a person experiencing homelessness, but like the railroady version of it. Like this is a traveling thing. So when you got it up,
I've had it up.
Oh, okay. Well, were you watching it?
No, I just wait. You just kept talking.
When you're ready. Okay, when you're ready, you go.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
There's a voice that keeps on calling.
This feels like those videotapes you could buy of like trucks doing stuff in a construction site. It's the same energy of like, this is just 30 minutes of helicopter footage.
So, have you seen Hobo carrying stuff yet?
No, I don't think so. I'm seeing the hot air balloon.
Okay. So this is a show
Good
about
dog
a
actor.
dog. The dog, like, it's like if the Mandalorian had a dog. And
Wow, he's carrying stuff. Whoa, a gun! You shouldn't carry a gun, dog.
So Littlest Hobo like rolls into town, gets involved in an adventure, and then like moves
Does he
on at the end
talk?
of the episode. Nope.
So
Nope.
it's a non-talking dog.
Yep.
And now it's the
Uh-huh.
outro music. Do you still need to?
Well, you see, what's happening now is he's leaving town.
Oh, he's on the rails. Okay, he's in a train somehow. Alone.
He is, in fact, the littlest hobo.
Like, I am genuinely shocked that he doesn't hold in his mouth a little stick with a bandana on the end.
A bindle, yeah.
A bindle, yeah.
He needs a bindle, yeah. So if any of our Canadian listeners watch Littlest Hobo, please.
So a non-talking dog rolls into town, and they're like, they're gonna shut down. Someone's buying the mini mall. We gotta raise money with a talent show, and then this non-talking dog
is like an integral part of the proceedings, and then leaves town at the end of the episode having solved the problems.
Huh.
And
how long did that run for?
Clicking on so there are like 3 versions of it. It was like a show that kept getting revived. The one that these people were in ran for 5 years, from 79 to 84. But I started like running down the list. Rudy, Candace, Roxanne, Fink, and Spaz were all in episodes of Littlest Hobo, and Hardware was in 3 different episodes as 3 different characters.
I just don't understand how that show was a show.
Basically, every Canadian child actor was in The Littlest Hobo, and then also in Meatballs.
So, does he have a collar on? That people are like, this is Hobo. Like, is that?
I don't even know if the dog's name is Hobo. I had a friend who was like, had discovered this. And I haven't thought about it in like 10 years, but they discovered this show and we're talking about it. And I was like, you're making this up. And they're like, no, it's real. Look. And then they sent clips of it, and it is just a non-talking dog having adventures across Canada.
Wild.
He's up there. He's eating ketchup chips and all dressed chips as you would. He's having a poutine every now and again.
Doritos just put out tangy ketchup chips, and they're pretty good.
I saw. Oh, okay.
It's like if you cracked some black pepper, or it's like dash some black pepper onto your ketchup.
Oh.
They also have hot mustard, and they're very good.
Like Chinese hot mustard?
I think so. I don't know that I've had. Oh, I guess I have had Chinese. It's more like it's like that very like Coleman's, like very sharp. Very strong mustard.
Aldi had an all-dressed chip, and it was way too vinegary, and it was a huge disappointment.
I am glad I skipped it this time.
Very vinegary, not well balanced enough. Anyway, at this point, so that was the Littlest Hobo interlude. Thank you for indulging me. At this point in the movie, we get so there's 2 songs that are like the theme of this movie. One is "Are You Ready for the Summer," which is little kids singing that, which Andrew really hates, but I found kind of a Brady Bunch-esque enjoyment out of.
Yeah, it's just if it wasn't clearly an elementary school chorus.
It is in fact the Camp Mohawk Kids Choir.
No, it's the Camp North Star.
Oh, sorry, the Camp North Star Kids Choir.
Yeah, but clearly it's only the like 6-year-olds. It's not. It's not the 14-year-olds.
But we get the second song of the movie, which is so much better, which honestly felt like a Bob's Burgers song to me, where it's like there's like a nice drum beat going, and then this insanely deep voiced man goes, "Meatballs."
It sounded like it was like very like Spaceballs energy.
Meatballs, yes.
Like I was like, what are we doing?
So we get this beautiful song that plays like 3 times in the movie, maybe 4.
It's a lot,
and
it's more than it should.
Spend a little. I honestly, every time it came up, was like clapping like a seal, like Meatballs. We were starting to record. I was singing it. It's such delightfully singing. Meatballs. Every time I make meatballs for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be rolling them out, going Meatballs. Morty had on a great button that was like not like a sticker, but like a button that was like, "Hi, my name is Morty," which I thought was
because everyone calls him Mickey.
Well, they do that because he wears the button, I think.
I thought it was of the others. I didn't know if it was a chicken or an egg situation.
I thought it was like, you're so obsessed with us getting your name right that we're all going to use the wrong name.
Could be.
But he then has a shirt on that says, "When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut," which is used by the heel wrestler The Miz frequently in live settings.
As a shirt or as like his catchphrase?
I'm not sure if he's had it on a shirt, but he definitely uses it as a catchphrase.
And then everyone starts chanting like, "We want gossip," and this girl stands up, and I was like, immediately I'm like, this is not appropriate for a child to be speaking about adults. Like, if you want to talk about this way about your peers to your peers, cool. It is weird for you to talk about adults like this.
Oh, but the way she gave the update was like so child appropriate. I thought it was like funny as hell.
She says one CIT is giving all the boys wet dreams.
Yeah, okay, that was a little bawdier.
As someone who worked at a high school, no. Arms up. I'm an adult. Y'all need to stop. Stop it. Stop.
I think your time working with children has poisoned you against this movie is the problem.
It definitely didn't help. But then sometimes you just have to be like, hey, children, please wait till I leave the room to have any conversation. Thank you so much. I am still in here. Or you can leave the room. These are your options. But I'm an adult, and I need to speak loudly that I'm an adult and telling you to stop. Thank you.
I can't hear the thing you're saying. So this is when Rudy slips away to a diner, and he's clearly running away.
Because he's bad at soccer, and I feel that.
And the other kids are like, he's a loser because he gets scored on in the soccer game.
Yeah.
Bill Murray goes and like kind of cheers him up, gets him to come back to the camp. I love this. I think it's really sweet energy.
I like most of it. I like the beginning and the end, but that middle, there's that weird chunk in the middle where he like does a whole ass bit that like is too long and too much.
Here's my biggest beef with this movie. We come into the next scene, and this guy's eating Oreos, and it's like clearly how Oreos were sold in 1979, just like loose in a sack. What a fucked up world this
was. It really?
Yeah, it was a bag, like a bag of gold.
Was it Hydrox or was it Oreos?
No, it was Oreos. It was. They showed the label, and they showed him eat the Oreo out of the box. There is no way you get more than like 8 full cookies in just a loose goldfish bag.
Yeah, because that's always the worst part about the minis. Those like travel cups of mini Oreos.
Oh,
most of it was dust.
Sure. Yeah, it's mostly Oreo dust. It's like okay to put on ice cream.
Yeah. And then like, okay, Bill Murray and Jackie,
this scene is insane.
I hate it.
I don't get what's happening. Like why this is in the movie makes no sense. It's not the woman he is like interested in.
Yeah, it is. That's Jackie. Or not Jackie.
Roxanne.
Roxanne. That's Roxanne.
I thought is it Roxanne?
It is Roxanne. I said Jackie. I meant Roxanne.
I thought it was Roxanne. You said Jackie. I was like, clearly I was wrong. Okay.
No, it's Roxanne. But like, he's like,
this is like, I just want to set this up in the broader context of like, there's a real stupid like sexuality thing that has pervaded Hollywood for time immemorial, which is that like men want it and women actually want it, but can't outwardly want it. Right. And it's dumb and bad. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this scene is so out of context, out of place of the movie that we're creating up. And especially we just saw how nice this man is to this like lost and wayward child. Why is he this creep when it comes to this woman?
But because also like you can give nonverbal consent. You can, with body language, you can indicate that you're interested.
Right.
She is giving both nonverbal and verbal no.
Right. And you can even be saying the word no when you actually mean yes in a very specific instance where everybody is on the same page.
There's a giggle to it.
There's like a fun version of this. This is not played as a fun version of this.
It seems like she genuinely like left it. Like if the next scene was like she and Roxanne left camp, I would have been like, yeah.
Or is like crying and the other counselors are CIT. She's a counselor, not a CIT.
I think she's a full counselor.
The other CITs are like consoling a crying Roxanne would have not been out of place after this sequence.
He like forces himself on her. She says no. She's pushing him away. He's on top of her and she's saying, stop it or I'll scream. Like,
right.
Everything about this is not okay.
Right. And then he pulls her on top of him and he starts screaming. Morty comes in and is like, what the hell is going on here? And Bill Murray is like, oh, she came on. She attacked me. I couldn't get her off. And it was just like, I don't know what we're doing here, but I don't like it.
I don't like it.
And it's just this one scene. It's the rest of it is none of this.
Because that's what
each other.
The next scene with her, I think, when they're at the dance party thing.
Yeah.
When he pulls her away, she's giving her body language is like, I don't want this. And then she starts to soften a little bit, but like it is a wild trajectory from what looks like a sexual assault to let's move in together.
Right. Yeah. It's strange. It's very, very weird.
Also, why is there a showboating rich asshole at Camp North Star?
I assumed he was like from across the lake and then he wasn't. And I was very confused.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like I needed that he didn't get voted in because they say the kids you have to get voted in. To North
that's
Star,
right.
To
that's right.
Mohawk.
That's right. Yeah.
It should have been like,
it would have been better.
I applied, but they didn't vote me in or like something. Cause I the whole time I was like, why are you here, my dude? You should be over there.
Or like my dad got fired and they kicked me out.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like even though I had paid. The boys' cabin is the kid has some C4 to blow a hole in the wall, and they're going to install
His name is Hardware. He's one of the so many hot counselors.
Hardware, who was in 3 distinct episodes of the Littlest Hobo. They steal Morty's air conditioner and they try to run it in their cabin, but instead they just cut power to the whole camp, and it all goes to. It's one of those great like far away shots of the lights rolling out.
Yeah, and so like this is another one of those like mini scenes.
Yeah,
because we're also going to get this like tennis mini scene that like doesn't add anything, and it's only like 2 minutes long at most. And I was like, you need to be filling the time with bits.
We're hanging out with our friends. We're learning to like each other. We're getting close.
I laugh more when I hang out with my friends.
It feels more like what summer camp is like, which is like a lot of downtime. Well, ours was not so much like this, but it's just like there's a lot of downtime.
Well, I imagine I'm betting it's because we went to a day camp that it was more jam-packed.
Yeah, like I imagine as a sleepaway camp, it's like there's probably a lot of downtime. Like you do have a lot of this. Like I don't know, you guys want to go play tennis? Like what else are we doing? You know?
Yeah, but like that's in a movie. Do you see someone drive to the store and buy milk?
I get it. I get it. I just liked it. What do you want from me?
Yeah, there's this weird mini scene with Spaz and his fat friend playing tennis with the girls he likes.
Yes. And then we have Bill Murray in full Adidas drip, who get a special thanks in the credits. BT.
Oh, I missed that.
There's an Adidas thank you at the end of the credits, but he's in a full Adidas tracksuit wearing Adidas shoes. He's got the full drip.
Like he might as well have a bucket hat on.
And they're jogging, and this is like him and Rudy getting to know each other. And also turns out is Chekhov's jogging, which was genuinely shocking to me in Act 3.
Yeah, it was weird, but I'll take it. And then they're playing cards and burping, and it's a cute little scene.
The biggest non sequitur is the one with the painter, the girl with the paint, and then there's like a thing about bees, and then she like
I wanted that to come back so bad.
I was waiting. I was like, oh, that was kind of weird. I wonder if that'll come back. Nope, it just is this one.
She's doing the like chalk or probably chalk in the 70s.
She's chalking the
lines for the baseball diamond.
Baseball.
And then the bee comes at her and she like runs away and she turns around and it's straight out of fucking Airplane. It's like a very clearly painted on like squirrely, swirly, googly line. And I was we're going to play like baseball and they're going to have to, and everyone's going to be running on this weird specific path. Like, give me the jokes.
Yeah, honestly, that's a funnier setup for like the big showdown with the other camp, where it's like, you know, part of the thing with Major League Baseball is all the stadiums are a little bit different, and so like the outfields will have a weird shape, or there's like a kind of a quirk to it, and it's like, oh,
does the grass is it like different grasses?
Well, no, I'm just it's more like the shapes of the outfields, like the distance to like the home run distance is different in every ballpark and stuff like that, and there's like. Very, very a long time ago, there was the Polo Grounds in New York, which had like an insanely long home run distance was bonkers long back in the day. Whereas like, you know, but if you pick any 5 Major League Baseball stadiums, like a home run will be slightly different distance in each one, and the outfields will have slightly different shapes and stuff. It's not like crazy different, but there's slight differences.
Yeah.
The joke that you mentioned earlier is probably my favorite of Bill Murray's announcement jokes, where they're leaving the mess hall and he's like, the winner of tonight's contest was John Smith, who guessed some kind of beef. Tonight's meat was veal.
It was just the funny line, but my brain thought this was like an earnest line from the movie.
Right. I get that. So Spaz and I started calling this guy John Popcorn because he's like almost John Candy.
Yeah, he like really wishes.
Right, he's like a discount version. He's like the popcorn, not the candy.
Yeah, sure.
This is where they play tennis. The peanut trash. They're playing the peanut blackjack, as you were mentioning, and then one of the wildest things. There's a clock transition.
I missed that.
It goes like it's like a star wipe, except it's like hands of a clock to like indicate passing of time. It goes from 3 o'clock to like it's like 3, 6, 9, 12, and then it's like, oh, now the kid has all the peanuts and Bill Murray has none.
Also, what is with that helmet that Bill Murray wears? I
don't get the helmet. And also, did you read any of the like graffiti in the cabin where he stays? I really liked the one. There's like a huge thing that says door, and then written under in Sharpie is no kidding.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, they're playing blackjack, I think.
Yes.
And the kid's winning because apparently, I mean, my friend explained that like blackjack is the game where the dealer will talk to you and explain things because it's not like they can do anything, assuming the cards aren't stacked or. So we say stacked, rigged.
Yeah, stack the deck.
Yeah,
No, stack the deck is the term.
which I thought was cute.
Yeah, I've never played it in Vegas because I'm way too cheap. You just lose your money so quickly.
Yeah, we played it at Eastern State when they did for their Halloween haunt thing. When you get to the end, you can pay like $10 or like some reasonable amount of money to like go into this other wing of the prison, like or cell block, and then there's like a little bar, and then some of the cells are open. There's a little like a fortune teller or a blackjack table or whatever.
Oh, that's fun.
And so it was just literally like me and my boyfriend and our friends in this room, one at a time, going up playing a little blackjack with the person to win a piece of like Halloween candy. So like very low stakes. But I was like, I don't understand this, and she was like, the person was like, let me tell you how it works, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, my understanding is most Vegas games, they are happy to teach you as long as it's not crowded because they're like, yeah, we want you to know how to play the game and spend your money.
Mm-hmm. Bill Murray goes to round up the boys' CITs, and again, there's a real attractive bunch. Hardware is
the one Crockett is a guy who became like a very well regarded finance writer, like Wall Street Journal and such.
Oh, that's cool.
He only acted in 4 things and became that. And he wrote this like very telling article about Enron like a year before all the House of Cards came down. And people were like, yeah, in hindsight, he kind of laid it all out there, didn't he?
It's like how not Horace, that's Monster Squad. Is it Chunk? Yeah, Chunk
is an entertainment lawyer.
Is an entertainment lawyer. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
So they had to talk to Chunk to get data for Everything Everywhere.
Magnificent. The counselors kidnap Morty and they move him to a bed outside. I was really surprised this didn't have a gag where they drugged him first because of how deeply asleep he is. They like turn his bed sideways.
This feels very much like the heightened world I want.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course he's so deep asleep they can ratchet him to the bed and turn the bed sideways.
Yeah. It's a good gag. This is a running joke throughout the thing of like they keep putting Morty into dumber and dumber places.
Yeah, it's fun.
They have it. They string ropes between trees and have him like
he's in a damn spider web.
Fort. Yeah.
It's Parents' Day already because I was like, I don't know how long we've been at camp. It seems early for Parents' Day, but whatever.
Yeah.
And we get one of those like bummer 70s ballads that they just throw in that sounds like you're watching like a health class video.
Yeah. The bright spot of this is. Well, we're getting that because it immediately transitions to Bill Murray being like, "Hey, Rudy, is your dad coming?" No. Well, my dad's not coming either. Can you hang out with me?
This would have been weird to explain that his mom's fucking dead.
Yeah, agreed.
How about your mom?
Sure.
Oh, she's dead. Like, come on.
Yeah, I get the impression that Murray already knows at that point, which is weird. Again,
cool movie. We don't.
Yeah. I agree. I'm convinced that we missed it. So someone is going to tweet and be like, "Hey, dummies, it's like in the first scene," which is fine. But I really like Spaz helping his dad park and having him back just straight into another car and break it. It's really good. Oh, also Bill Murray tells a Polish joke. Like we've talked about many times on the podcast. He does one of those like, yada 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 Polish people are stupid jokes, like that were blonde jokes in our era.
They were telling it to when it was just him and Rudy hanging out.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like it's clearly ADR, a joke that he tells Rudy as they're like walking back.
Totally missed that.
We have some sexy book time with the ladies, which I think this scene is actually quite like the boys are being pervy here, of course, but it's like such like a kinder version of this scene than you get in
so strange that they're just crawling under their cabin to listen to them.
Right. It is strange and weird.
It's more of an invasion of privacy than it is anything else.
Right. Don't get me wrong, I get why it's creepy, but it's just like such a sweeter and kinder version of this than most movies get, which is just like, hey, let's watch him in the shower.
Yeah, in Monster Squad, they're taking pictures through a telescope. Like,
yeah.
But it was weird that they couldn't hear the girls walking away.
Yes. this is Spaz and Finkelstein, and they're listening to the girls read like a sexy book and kind of giggle over it. The girls, one of them coughs, or I can't remember who says it. Well, one of the Spaz and/or Finkelstein is like, "I'm getting a boner."
I think it's Spaz.
I was like, "Why are you yelling this out loud? Why are you telling your friend?"
Don't. Why are you screaming? This is not the time.
You're 1 inch under a floorboard, an uninsulated cabin floorboard. So they get caught, and the girls like kind of grab Spaz and cover his mouth so he can't, give up the ghost. And they pants Finkelstein and spank him with a fly swatter, which feels like an appropriate.
Yeah, it's fun. And this is where I went. So far, there's no conflict. I was like, we're getting deep into this movie, and I'm waiting for a thing to happen.
Oh, they also run Spaz's pants, or not Spaz, Finkelstein's pants up the flagpole.
They get the camp boat.
John Candy in Summer Rental.
Yeah, but up a flagpole in Summer Rental?
He runs it up the sail post at the end.
Oh,
of Summer
yes,
Rental,
to get the last
we need
boost
more
of
sail.
Speed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. We need one more yard of cloth, which has to be against the rules of that competition.
I'm sure there's a lot that's against the rules of that competition.
Well, the thing where they put extra weight on the boat and then just throw it into the ocean has always delighted me. If that would be such a funny thing to do to it would be dumb. You'd lose the race, but have the ability to just jettison a bunch of weight mid-race.
Yeah, throw out all the frozen food, scoop it up. Yeah. Also, I want the scene at the end where they have to turn the boat around and scoop it up with a net, because that's profit, baby. They get Morty, the camp counselor, the camp owner, again as they drive off to the basketball game with the rival camp. They just left him by the side of the road in his bed this time.
Yeah. This is where we're starting to set up the air quotes conflict of the movie, but it's not anything. It's just they go get their asses kicked in a basketball game.
But the camp Mohawk basketball team should have been the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes, 100%.
So they're goofing around, but also very good at basketball.
Yeah, it's we are so much better than you that we can do.
We can do whatever we want. We can We can write a doctoral thesis.
Right. I got a thing you think is full of water, but it's actually confetti. That kind of business.
Yeah, I would like to see one of their games. It seems fun. I don't want to get selected. I want to hide far away in the back so that I don't get.
There's no selection.
There's audience participation.
Oh! I thought you meant you have to play basketball.
No. I mean, I'm sure they would make you do a free throw or whatever. But it's I don't need audience participation. I just want to see them do their thing.
Okay, I was they do not want you to play them in basketball. They want it to be a somewhat competitive game.
Is it? I just assumed it was
It's so there's I have gotten curious about this at multiple points. They normally have the Washington Generals who are there
So do they always fight them or play them?
Often, but not always, because they'll also do things where it's we're playing the high school basketball team of X town,
the actual high school basketball team.
Yeah, or something akin to it, and they will let it be close for a while and then just, win by 30 at the end.
Then just dunk on them, literally.
Right.
It's the Atlanta Bananas in baseball.
Right, the traveling softball team.
No, is it softball or baseball? I thought the Atlanta Bananas were baseball.
It could be baseball. Maybe
But there's only one other team that I've seen that does goofy hijinks baseball. Yeah. So I'm do you just travel? Do you just tour together? And is that what this is?
No, it's usually the hijinks team plays somebody who plays straight so that the hijinks look bigger. It's like a classic wrestling jobber, right? It's if you have a big monster wrestler who throws people around, you want to put them in there against a guy that's $1.25.
It's got to be the Blue Rocks. It's got to be a D tier team, right?
I think it's more they travel around and play other teams, local teams or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're not fighting the Phillies fighting again.
No, it wouldn't be a professional baseball team. No, yeah. No, I think it's more local semi-pro team.
But just some of the hijinks I see, they're on stilts, or literally they have a grill. They're grilling hot dogs in the outfield or on the pitcher's mound, and I'm how can another team not be I don't I just want to pitch a fucking ball and hit a ball. Wouldn't that?
Well, that's the gimmick. Is we're so much better at you at baseball that we can do this and beat you still.
I just always assumed they were. Never mind. We're gonna get really into the literal inside baseball here. We can take this conversation offline.
So they play this like insane goon brand of basketball,
And also, like, the North Star team doesn't even wear the same color shirt.
right?
Like, you can't all wear a white shirt or a black shirt.
right? Or there's not like pennies.
Because, like, I understand that, like, the rich team has official uniforms that look good, but, like, you all have the same color shirt.
Right. Presumably, anyway.
You can all get a white shirt.
Right.
For the one game a year.
And also later we see them all in Camp North Star t-shirts.
Which, again, there's got to be a camp t-shirt.
Right. But yeah, it's just like, you mentioned this before, but it's like, it's just so insane. Instead of it being like, you know, we watch them warm up and they're doing like the layup line and it's just like one after another, these like perfect form layups and guys doing like tomahawk dunks from the foul line and just like crazy basketball skill. It's like, no, they're just assholes. Like they beat them up physically, which is not how you play basketball.
No.
This leads to Bill Murray giving them like a kind of funny halftime speech, and then they do the tip off. The Camp North Star just pants the guys on the other team, and they all run away.
Yeah, I'm just like, then why go at that point? If you know you're gonna lose,
right.
Just everyone go swimming today. We're gonna have a free day.
Right. Yeah, it seems more fun for everyone.
And also, the fat character, quote unquote, is playing with a candy bar in his hand.
Yes, he also is doing like granny dribble, which is just so funny. Like,
and he scored the only point.
Yes, by accident.
Well, yeah.
He got scared and threw the ball away. But he's doing the like slap the ball and not actually dribble.
Oh yeah. They leave. So Morty, who they left behind on the way there, bikes there halfway through the game. Then when they do their great pantsing plan, they don't get him on the bus.
Right.
They leave him behind to bike back.
And he gets caught by this gang of children, and instead of them beating up Morty, they just tear his bicycle to shreds.
Well, that seems more sportsmanlike.
Yeah. So Wheels and AL reunite. They're the ones we heard about in the gossip who had like been last summer's it couple. But
there's so many like scenes that were written to be a thing that were just like not earned emotional payoffs. And this is one of them. I was like, I haven't spent enough time with any character to like give a shit about their relationship. Like later when all that, like they're all like hooking up and like connecting, like, call me Crockett, I love you. I'm like, who are you?
Yeah, that part was really weird. The
you did a thing on a boat.
Yeah. Yes.
A thing, and I'm supposed to give a shit?
She like very loudly declared that she was into him, which was like kind of funny. Like,
I like that, but like,
yeah,
that's that to the next scene of I love you, Crockett, or whatever the hell. Let's have sex.
Well, they were a thing the previous summer, so they have a built-in background that we just didn't see.
AL and Wheeler, you mean?
Yeah.
Not Crockett and
so no. But sorry, I apologize. I got my camp CITs confused. This is another good announcement gag where I assume all of these were done in post,
probably
like, ADR. But there's like a person on water skis, and Bill Murray's like, "Hey, you on the water skis?" And the person falls
like,
down.
Whoa,
after.
That's fun.
I thought that was good. Oh, the fourth Meatballs movie is about water skiing instructors. Corey Feldman is like a water skiing whiz.
Sure.
Water skiing must have been very hot in 19.
You know what I want? I want the Meatballs X Sleepaway Camp collab.
Honestly, it's funny.
Angela beheads Bill Murray.
Our new rules opened up all of Sleepaway Camp because they take place between 79 and 92.
Well, I think there's the new sort of one.
I'm sorry. I meant Meatballs, not Sleepaway Camp.
You're out of your fucking mind if you think I'm doing more Meatballs. You can go right to hell.
Meatballs 2 through 4? You don't want to complete the quadrilogy?
I don't. I'm a vegetarian now. I don't want more meatballs.
Well, these are vegan meatballs.
Gross.
Meatballs.
This is where we're at the dance, and again, they're just like talking about the girls rather than like going to talk to the girls.
Sure, like most teen boys that I was friends with.
Like, but like, oh, you know what's a great way to like kiss a girl? Talk to her. You know how you're not gonna kiss a girl?
Scarier.
Talk to your fucking friends about her. Unless
Yeah,
you're kissing
I
them,
related to
which
this.
I don't know, maybe.
This was like, oh, someone took a video of my real life. I was like, I couldn't relate to this more if I was in it. Is the going across the lake with the CITs right after the dance?
Yeah, all of a sudden Bill Murray's like packing a bag and talking to Rudy, and I was like, where's he going? He's like, I have to go on this overnight with the CITs, and I was like, any explanation, a morsel of dialogue would have been lovely.
So I feel like I know of this as a thing for sleepaway camps where it's like there's like a reward for the kids as like a thanks for working hard that they kind of get to like go off away from the kids and they definitely drink and screw around.
I mean,
like a
usually
thing.
it was you get like once a week. You could, I mean, like according to what I've read and like seen,
Okay.
you get like once a week. You can kind of sneak off camp and do your own thing.
Got it.
I think usually
But
do it in shifts. I think like half them would go so that the other half would be
That would make
there
sense.
for emergencies.
That would make sense. Well, that's counselors. These are the CITs.
Oh right. I don't.
So this is like the.
There's also only like 3 counselors at this camp. So.
Right. Well, you don't have to pay a CIT, you see.
Oh. Okay.
So it's you pay half the rate to go to camp because you're a counselor in training.
Wait, it's not free?
Oh no, no
Horseshit.
Come on. This is capitalism, baby.
Horseshit.
Well, you can pay us to work,
Yeah. No, I hear it, and I hate it.
and as a reward, we let you go off and fornicate in the woods.
And get murdered by someone with a mask on.
Yeah. But I love we're in canoes and it's like generally 3 to canoe. Bill Murray and Roxanne are like supervising this little overnight, and Spaz is in a canoe with a babe, and he gets so distracted by her adjusting her bikini bottoms as she's tanning. She's of course not helping paddle the canoe,
Of course.
and he's like, it's really good physical business for this actor. He's like paddling, looks at her adjust her bottoms, and just like keeps paddling, but has dropped the oar.
Yeah, it was very funny. And then I gotta say, a little too much singing in this movie.
A little too much singing.
I don't need to hear your full song as a group. We can fade to black and get and open on the campfire real quicker.
Yeah. The other song is like kind of funny enough that like I could get a couple of bars of it.
I think a couple bars.
And-
you didn't need to do. This
No,
is a
I was
16
just
bar
about to
cut.
say that.
This is a 16 bar cut audition. We don't need the full song. Thank you.
I could have done 4. Yeah. Bill Murray tells the classic like guy with a hook for a
Was
hand
this a-
story.
Do you think this was an old story at this point?
I gotta be, yeah. Because even in the movie, they're like every character has heard this story before.
Yeah, with the classic, radio bulletin at the beginning of the story.
Yes. It is the classic version of the hook for the hand.
You think
guy.
it started in like the 50s? I can't imagine like
gotta
in
be.
the 40s that they were
It
like,
feels like a make out point thing.
which again feels very 50s.
So I was agreeing
Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
I would guess this originated then, like the rise of car culture and teens are out and about by themselves. It just feels like it. And the whole like escaped from the mental institution also feels very 50s.
yeah. After a
I-
lobotomy,
I like-
they're not doing anything.
I like the Jesus Christ.
I mean, come on.
I like the punchline of Bill Murray actually has a hook hand.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very good. Although there is a shot of the hook like on the shore of the beach as like Bill Murray and Roxanne are hooking up, and I was like, oh, is this going to come into play later? And it's like, no,
No, it was just trailing all their clothes.
Yeah. There's also like as I said, the kids are all like, I heard the story before, but in my version it was blank, and my version was blank. And Spaz is like, in my version he had a hook for a foot, and Johnny Popcorn is like, he had a hook for a foot. How would that even work?
Oh, also, while Bill Murray was telling this campfire story, I wrote, "You, sir, are no John Candy. My spooky campfire story showman. You are not."
It's fair. He does a good job with this, but John Candy's is better. I agree with that.
And then after we hear Bill Murray and Roxanne doing it and then going in the water.
Did you catch her Canadianism there?
A boot, right? I don't remember what it was a boot, but it was the word
a
boot.
boot something. Yeah.
Spaz comes back to talk to Fink, and he's like,
It's all a boot, the littlest hobo.
He's like, oh, we walked in the woods and when we held hands, and I was like,
I thought this was so sweet.
it was very sweet, but I was like, even
Okay.
I know that like if I say we did something in the woods, holding hands is not a thing. Like
They're both so excited about this little consensual handholding, and then they unveil a heavyweights-esque treasure trove of snacks.
yeah, he pulls he pulls the newel post off of the bed frame and dumps out
Yes.
all of his candy.
Yeah, this is the weird thing with Crockett, and I can't remember the woman's name. but she's
Attractive
like-
blonde CIT.
Well, there's 4 of them. Yeah. it's
Yeah, they're-
difficult.
And only one of them has a name.
But he's like, no, call me Crockett. She's like, what? He's like, I like it when you call me Crockett. And then she's going, Crockett, like Delilah style. And I'm like, what is happening?
Or like in Death Becomes Her, when Goldie Hawn says sex and sexual.
Yes. So this is about an hour into this 90-minute movie. It's like, it's the Camp Olympiad tomorrow.
Also, we never heard one of Rudy's announcements because Bill Murray said you have to
No.
do the announcements while I'm gone. So I thought maybe we'd
Yes.
hear one.
Right. And he told Rudy he had to run 2 miles, then 2.5, and then 3.
Yeah. Which, like, how long are you gone?
Right. He said only overnight. So he's talking to Rudy about like the thing he's in. He's in the potato race and the egg toss, neither of which we see in the Olympiad
No,
with
but
Rudy participating.
We do see a potato sack race, and it's all 6-year-olds, which, like,
So,
there's no
he
way
said-
that was supposed to be what Rudy was in.
He said potato race though, which made me think it was like, you know, the thing where you run with an egg on a spoon?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like that because he said the guy fell and mashed his potato.
Oh, I thought he was just being dumb. Like, he was a potato sack race, and he
Gotcha.
fell and mashed his potatoes.
Because running with a potato on a spoon would be much harder than an egg because of how heavy a potato is.
I feel like it would be more like a potato. Isn't there one? Oh, you know what? I'm thinking there was one where it's probably similar to this. It was like basically a diving ring with 4
Uh-huh.
ropes. This was a field day activity with 4
Okay.
ropes tied to it, and there was like a small ball, like a kickball or a dodgeball
Okay.
on top, and you all had to hold it up and walk it together.
Okay.
So I'm thinking it was that kind of situation where it was like they had it tied 4 ways or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of the spoon race.
Also, the Mohawk when they do the flame, the torch,
Yeah.
the Mohawk dude fully spits on the North Star girl.
In front of everyone. The
Wild.
staff of both camps. It's crazy how like these guys are just like comically mean.
Yeah, and again, they're all cheating, and I was like, they should just be like, we're rich and we train and we're good at things.
Yeah, but I took it as like, oh, of course the rich people cheat to win. That feels very on brand.
But also North Star's just bad.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
they're
You
just
don't need to cheat.
bad
You're
at the
going to win
games.
anyway.
They're there's this very weird scene where it's like pole vaulting without the pole. I guess you just call it vaulting.
It's the high jump.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Mhm.
And so the Mohawk guy does it and he clears it and it's beautiful. And then is it Crockett?
No, it's heinous. It is heinous form. Neither of these guys do the Fosbury flop. I was very upset about it. It's unbelievable that they wouldn't be doing the Fosbury flop.
R/whoosh.
You've never seen someone do the high jump before?
No, I mean maybe, but the first
There's
guy
a
looks like he
man
did it
named-
fine.
There's a man named Fosbury who invented the Fosbury flop, which is that you run to this thing and then you jump, but you go over it back first and you are able to clear. And you can jump the highest by doing his technique. It's why all the jumpers use it.
But so then
No Fosbury flops.
Is
It's
it-
a fun word to use.
is it Crockett?
You should. Crockett is the one I think who's doing the jump.
and he's like, Bill Murray's like, I don't know, you're terrible. We're all terrible. And he goes to do the jump, and there's this like weird musical sting. It sounds like an episode of Murder, She Wrote, and we're seeing someone get shot, like killed secretly.
Yeah.
Or like something. There's like a musical sting. He does the jump and he fails and he hits it, the thing. And then there's another like accompanying sting that sounds like, we got him, guys. But like no one did anything. There's
Right,
no like
right.
they greased the like or they put tape on the pole or something. Like
Right. Yeah.
it's just weird.
Yeah.
They're just bad at all the games.
And then the next events are wild. There's boxing, which is insane. Field hockey, which is like fairly.
almost-
it surprised me that there's a team sport, but it's not like.
I almost wrote
weird.
land hockey. I was like ice hockey and land hockey. No.
It's funny, that sport is like exclusively played by women in the States, and internationally it's co-ed. Like men play
Is it
and
really?
women play it. Not necessarily together, but there are men's teams and women's
Huh.
teams.
I just know it's very violent and a women's sport here.
Yeah, yeah. But the one girl goes full knee on knee, like real evil shit, and breaks the other girl's leg.
Yeah.
It's totally absurd.
Then it becomes an all-out girl fight. Not speaking of Mean Girls. In my head, I made a Mean Girls reference because that's how the movie ends. And then I realized I didn't actually say it.
Yeah.
And so then we cut to like, they're all in the mess hall or the like.
It's like a lounge area.
Yeah, it's where it's big enough to fit all the campers. And the Morty's like, so they're winning by a lot. And then Bill Murray gives a speech about how like they're all talented and like doing great things and like they're training for these events and it doesn't matter. And I was like, but also like you all are objectively bad at these games. Like we didn't see you train and then fail. We just saw you like, I guess I'll do the jump.
Well, I think I love that his speech is like, this stuff is stupid and you shouldn't care about it. It just doesn't matter.
Oh, I hate it. It just
doesn't matter.
And I'm sure it's because I don't care for Bill Murray, but I hated the speech.
I thought it was really like, whether you like the speech's content, like the speech's delivery or not, I'm talking about like the content of like the whole time I was watching this, I was like, there are no stakes to this fight. You don't need to care this much. And Bill Murray is like, hey, we don't have to care about this. It doesn't matter. I thought that was really refreshing for a movie like this.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes sense that like the campers would care about the Camp Olympiad.
Right. But I think he like gives them this like, you know, like a lot of times a sports speech is like, you know, rabble, like get everybody energized.
This is our time on the ice or whatever the miracle fucking speech is.
Right. But in this version, it's like, hey, everybody just needs to relax. Like, just chill. You're all overthinking this. And that's what works. Like this group of players needs to just be told to breathe, you know?
Yeah.
So day 2, Olympiad starts.
Big old sexy bear referee. I was like, oh, hello, where have you been?
He looks like the front of some yacht rock band that I don't know the name of.
I can see that.
Like he's up there with a keyboard and just like crooning.
Yeah.
The video has like 3 of his heads that are like swirling around in circles, like a kaleidoscope filter. She's the one I want. I made a Michael McDonald, but like
you did Michael McDonald singing the Purple People Eater.
Well, no,
it sounded like you were about to say one-eyed, one-horned.
No, I said she's the one I want. I just made up some words. So we're swimming. We get a fish in the suit, and we get the my favorite callback of this: the Meatballs.
Also,
song comes back.
Why are there even referees if everyone is just cheating?
It doesn't make a lot. They're like wrestling referees. They're just there for show.
It's like I feel like there was a thing that I can't remember that like. The rule is there are no rules, so everyone just cheats the whole time. And I can't remember what it is or what it's from. It's driving me nuts now.
I can also hear it in my head, but I don't know the answer. Also, I was thinking of this just now because I wrote down the Bob's Burgers thing here, but I said it earlier. But couldn't you just imagine Marshmallow singing the song on Bob's Burgers?
Oh my God, yes.
Meatballs. And it's like there's like...
it's like her head in like 20% transparency in front of the screen.
So here's the episode. It's like it's an Italian dinner fundraiser, you know, like the spaghetti dinners that you go to.
Yeah.
And of course, like Jimmy Pesto thinks that like, of course he should do the catering, but Bob wants to do the catering. He's like, you know, I work with beef. I can make a meatball. And then they're like, we're going to have a meatball off. And they have like a meatball making like a taste off.
Yeah.
And and then it's Marshmallow is one of the judges and she's singing about the meatballs.
Yeah. I have a theory that that Jimmy Pesto's never coming back and his ex-wife is going to come take his place in the show.
What happened with the Jimmy Pesto?
January 6th.
Oh boy. Oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah, that's why he was not in the show after that.
I forgot. Oof,
quietly just written out and never mentioned again. And so, but like
Jimmy Jr. still popped up, but
his kids are still there.
Okay,
Andy and Ollie.
Okay, we'll have to revise my pitch to take out the character I forgot got written off the show because he's a shithead.
My theory is that it's going to just be his wife. Like it's going to be like he left to go do something, and his ex-wife came back, and she's going to take care of it. She's going to like raise the kids and run the restaurant. That's my theory.
Or they'll just never have that. They'll just never mention that rivalry again. I forgot about him not being on this season.
Yeah. It just seems like a thing you just have on a back burner.
Right. So then we're playing some softball or baseball.
Well, and there's
like,
wrestling. Like,
yes.
Greek style wrestling, which.
Well, it's like, it is like Olympic wrestling, but also the one guy's doing like pro wrestling bits with his costume.
He does a drop kick, which I was like, there's no way that's allowed in this.
No, you
but
cannot
also,
do a single leg drop kick.
They start the wrestling match with like one guy on all fours facing
That's how
a direction.
Olympic wrestling often starts.
And the other guy already has his arms around him.
Yep.
They don't start facing each other.
That
seems insane.
The subsequent rounds start with one wrestler having advantage, which is the guy on his knees.
Do they like flip a coin for the first one?
No, they start face to face on
They
their
didn't.
feet.
This one did not start face. This one started with.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's just
So that's why I was
it
confused.
A dumb movie. No, it's a dumb movie, but that is a real thing in Olympic wrestling.
So, but this character should have been like a pro wrestling fan.
Yes,
assuming that was like a thing.
Yeah, it was absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know like when it boomed.
I mean, it didn't boom at this time, but like pro wrestling was huge in the 70s in different parts of the country.
Yeah, like he should have been like a pro wrestling fan.
This is your like prime Ric Flair era.
Oh, okay. Woo.
NWA in the
That's,
Carolinas.
That's why I love.
Exactly right. I was laughing.
His documentary is called "Woo: Becoming Ric Flair."
Yes. Yeah. Very bad man.
I'm sure, but
extremely bad man.
How can you ever be Richard Flair again? Because literally, have you seen the trailer for it?
I've seen the documentary. Are you kidding? Of course I've seen the documentary.
I don't know. The trailer for it is literally like talking heads of like Ric Flair is my idol, like people in like wrestling outfits, whatever. After like give me like 3 sentences of about Ric Flair, but give a pause after each one.
The most stylish.
Woo!
The most flamboyant.
Woo!
The world champion.
Woo! Like after every fucking talking head was like in the next room, woo, and I was like, we are so deep into the rails.
So okay, let me.
Like I know that's his thing, but it's just hilarious to me.
One of Ric Flair's signatures was just a classic chop to the chest.
Okay,
like you just put the guy in the corner, or you can do it anywhere in the ring. But oftentimes the guy's like backed into the corner. You unleash just a big slap across the chest. It is so ubiquitously Ric Flair's move that whenever anyone does a chest slap in any wrestling promotion anywhere in the United States, the whole crowd, woo! Like unbelievable, again, very bad man. But
is his daughter okay? Is she cool?
I have no idea about her personal business, but she's a pretty okay wrestler.
Okay.
She's not had any controversies like exposing himself to a flight attendant.
Well, fair. She would probably be on the receiving end of that. Yes, as a woman in the wrestling industry, it feels more like
you would think
she'd be the receiver.
Yeah, you would think. The best thing in this whole competition is this cup stacking thing. I've never seen it before. It's so good.
I've never seen it before, and I'll never see it again. And I don't think. I was like, I don't know what we're doing.
Of course you're not going to see it again, but I thought it was like the best version of these things I could imagine. This should be at every one of these type of things, like field day.
I just got confused by like, it seems weird that this Olympiad has both cup stacking and wrestling and Olympic wrestling. It seems wild that it's not all goofy shit.
You got to get events for me and you in the thing because both of us are at the camp.
Fair, I guess.
Like there should also be a singing competition.
No, that sounds like a nightmare. I hate karaoke bad enough. I don't need Camp's Got Talent.
I'm just saying.
I don't need every nasally soprano from who's the star of their high school's choir squawking out fucking Phantom of the Opera. Get out of here.
It would not be Phantom of the Opera. Come on. You know what it would be.
Cats? It'd be Memory, then.
Memory is a great one, not the one I was thinking of, which is the one from Les Mis. I dreamed a dream.
No, because I'm talking about a very specific type of soprano who all sings fucking Think of Me from Phantom. And it's like, stop it. So we do the cup stacking. They're getting ready.
I'm so disappointed that you don't even like the cuff
I
stacking.
think it's
thought
cute.
this
I
was
just think
so
it's just
fun.
so strange. I was like, what? The range of events is wild
Yeah,
here.
I mean, we're playing Calvin Ball. You're right. The slingshot comes back, but this time Camp North.
Some little kid at
Star.
Camp North Star just wails on his knees.
So good. It's very pro
He
wrestling.
like comes
My
up
God,
with a
he's got
2x4.
He's got a 2x4. It's Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Oh my God.
Whack. So Spaz finally wins an event for them. Everyone's excited. There's a hot dog eating contest, and this like
a bunless hot dog eating contest. To be
which
specific.
honestly I'm in favor of, because all you're doing with the buns is just soaking them in water and slurping them. Which
It's very gross
just stop.
looking.
We can just do the hot dog. Just do the hot dog.
But the record is for HDBs.
I'm whatever. So this like mountain of beef.
Here's my beef. Thank you for the pun with this. The way they have set this up, it is impossible to keep score. Why are they not getting plates with 5 hot dogs on them at a time? And it's like, you've cleared a plate. Okay,
I think
then
they both
count.
have the same amount of hot dogs in the tray.
Right, but then afterwards you're going to have to meticulously count the tray out. It would take forever. I mean, in the movie, they just have them eat 200 hot dogs. But it's just like, normally someone would eat like, as someone who has been in a hot dog eating competition with a professional eater, I could say this confidently.
Who was it?
In college, I was the food critic, and there was a kid on campus who was on, there was like a competitive eating had such a moment when I was in college that
I remember.
Fox did like a competitive eating show that featured like college students, and he
cool.
was one of the contestants. So I reached out to this guy, I found him on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I write the food column. Do you want to do a competition head to head? Like, is that something you'd be interested in? And the guy was like, hell yeah, that sounds fun. So we did a hot dog eating competition, and I can't remember how many I ate. I think it was like 15
In like
12?
how many minutes?
6.
Okay, that's a lot.
It was a
It's a
good
respectable
showing.
amount of hot dogs.
He had like, he showed up at my apartment with some friends. We did this, and he had like a massive hangover. Like, he told me this. He's like, hey, I'm so hungover. And I was like, okay, do you not want to do this? He's like, no, it's fine. I'll be okay. And then,
Wait, you did this in your apartment? This wasn't like in a space?
well, I mean, what space did I have access to?
I thought maybe there'd be an office at the paper or
The paper did have an office, but there was no way to cook hot dogs there.
okay.
So I was just like, the only way that this makes sense is like, either we go pay for it or I'll make hot dogs. And he was like, no, just make hot dogs. So I just boiled a bunch of hot dogs. We put them in buns. I wrote an article about this. I'll have to see if I can find it, and I'll post it with it. But so the thing the professional leaders do where they like fill their cheeks, like as time expires, he like had a big mouthful of hot dog and bun, like really distended face of hot dog and bun.
That's
And
how
it
I
was
eat Cheez-Its.
and he was like, time goes off, and if he had swallowed that, we would have tied. And he's like, I don't think I want to swallow this. And I was like, okay, but it's like, I think I'm gonna swallow this. And he's like, okay. And so he just like spit it all up into a trash can, which was very disgusting, as you might imagine.
Yeah,
But I won, and then I didn't eat for like a day and a half.
fair. But yeah, this like mountain of beef steps out of a car, and I was like, where have you been this entire movie?
An absolute unit, a pro wrestler type
Yes.
person, absolutely.
And so this was like, I know I don't like Bill Murray. This scene, I was like angry at
This
him.
made me mad, so mad. You're not helping. You're hurting this guy's
You're not doing
performance.
anything.
Get off
Like,
him.
what the fuck are you doing? You should be in the crowd screaming. He should be in the front row screaming.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's like
or
literally,
even standing behind him and screaming, but not touching him.
he's like tickling him and wiggling him and shaking him. And at one point, he
Yeah,
puts him in a
yeah.
fucking chokehold. And I was like, how do you think you're helping? What do you think you're adding
So
to this?
Stupid.
I was so mad.
Right.
He wins,
But
though.
he wins, of course. Yeah. Which brings up our last event, which is the 4-mile marathon. Which I'm sorry, it's just an egregious misuse of the word marathon.
Not a marathon, but also they're like, this last event is worth 20 points. And I was like, why is the event with one person per camp worth 20 points? This should be
Right.
like, the team thing should be worth 20.
Right. Honestly, this should have been set up the way they set it up. Is much better set up in heavyweights, which is that it's a relay.
Yes, it should have been a relay.
So it's like the run, the hot dog eating, the cup stacking, like all of this could have been done as a relay, which I think would have been really fun.
Yeah, I agree. But so no one wants to do the run, I guess, which like fair, no
Yeah.
one wants to fucking run.
Right. 4 miles is stupid.
And then Bill Murray's like, hey, Rudy can run. And this one counselor goes, yeah, right, he can't catch a football. And I was like, I don't know why those two things are related, my dude.
They are deeply unrelated.
It's like being like, he can't bake a cake. He doesn't know how to change his oil in his car. Like,
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing?
That's not an apples to oranges. That's more like an apples to carburetors.
Yes, sir, I think you should close your mouth. And so everyone is like, no, he's the fucking worst. Like, this poor kid lost his mom, and immediately everyone at camp is like, you suck ass.
Right.
But also they're like, well, no one else wants to do it, so I guess you have to win for us.
Yeah. And Bill
It's a
Murray
real
doesn't
Rudolph
accept-
situation, which Rudy,
It is
I
a real
guess.
Rudolph situation.
Which, like,
yeah.
Rudolph should turn around and kick those fuckers in the face. That's how Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer should end. Oh, now that I'm useful, you care about me? Eat shit, Santa's workshop.
Come play our games. How about you come play my game? And it's a game where I kick the shit out of you.
How about you play my game? It's called I Hunt You.
How about we play Bambi and you be the mom?
And I'll play man. Click, click.
Yes, that's it. And the nose is like a red dot sight. He like uses his nose through the scope.
His nose has the hair, fuck it, what's the trigger, hair trigger? Crosshairs. That's the word.
crosshairs.
Thank you.
So Bill Murray gives Rudy a little pep talk, tells him how to win
That's
the
cute.
race. Rudy, of course, wins the race.
But no, I think you're glossing over the 5-minute race in which
It's
there's
really long.
in which there's no music and just the diegetic sound of two young men running through the woods.
Breathing heavily. It's a real. Are you watching porn in there?
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're gonna get some triumph. We get one little like tinkle of wind chimes for like triumphant music, and that's it for the 5 minutes. And I was like, can we just do a thing?
So the movie's not quite over, even though
Should
it
be.
seems like this would be the end. We have
They should hoist Rudy on his shoulders and then freeze frame.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's before the freeze frame. It's like Bill Murray's there picking him on the shoulders. He's like, "You're gonna see you back next summer, Rudy," and he's like, "You know it." There's
the freeze
He, like,
frame.
lifts the trophy. Yeah.
Instead, we get this weird like cool down.
I'm not sad my mom's dead anymore.
He's like, I'll come back next year, and then what's her face?
I am ready for the summer.
Roxanne's like, let's go to the last bonfire, and Morty's saying goodbye, and it's nice. They pop champagne, and then they sing a full 3-minute song, and I was like,
so crazy,
guys, no, give me a chorus and get out.
You know what it should be? This song should be introduced at the first campfire, the like, we're the CIT's song. And then this should be sung like the sort of slower, sadder Mickey Mouse Club ending. And they do like one rousing end, and then they all go their separate ways to their cabins.
They should have been singing it like we should have gotten a scene of them like hanging out the bus windows, singing it as the buses went by.
Yep, 100%.
That's all I needed. We cut to Roxanne and Bill Murray are moving in together, and I was like, this is wild.
Yeah, why is this?
He's got a 401k.
No, he doesn't.
Well, no. You got the joke.
He's a camp counselor.
The essence of the joke was there. He's got an AARP card.
Your joke was good. I just, I thought it was funny. Yeah, really silly. And then it's like, well, we should say goodbye to Morty. And then they turn and wave out the window, and Morty is on a platform.
Left him on a raft. Like in
pretty good.
Which honestly, I think it's because I've already in the Parent Trap, they do a lot of camp hijinks, and I think those are better executed than these.
Fair.
So
I just think this isn't a hijinks movie is the thing.
Yeah, I think I just wanted it to be something else because it was boring.
Right. Well, the funny thing is, like, I also thought it was going to be something else, but I was relieved that it wasn't the thing I thought it was going to be, as opposed to disappointed it wasn't the thing I had hoped for. You know what I mean?
I thought it was going to be the like wild, whatever that stupid spoof horror movie we did, or like a Mel Brooks joint.
Yeah. I thought we were getting Meatballs 4, and instead we have this like fairly sweet summer camp movie, and it's just very different.
Yeah. Also, Bill Murray has a motorcycle now.
I think he had a motorcycle.
We never saw it.
Oh, okay. Also, they're not wearing helmets, which is really insane.
Wild, but
put a helmet on. I would recommend this. I had a lot of fun with it. It's Like, it's only 90 minutes. It's very sweet. It's not the raunchy sex comedy that I assumed this was. The sequels seem insanely like it's just like the loosest of affiliations.
Yeah.
And no cast members ever come back, which I'm shocked that there isn't like Meatballs 4 features Finkelstein or something. You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
speaking of people coming back, we talked, I think last time, or maybe it was on the Patreon for TV shows. We mentioned that we said like no one came back except for Harvey Keitel for the National Treasure show.
Correct.
Apparently, Justin did come back.
Oh, okay.
Because the show got canceled, and people were like, "Well, that got canceled," and they like mentioned that Justin had come back for it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe I'll check it out.
Just wanted to fact check.
I love those movies, but I was just very uninterested in like a different person having those adventures. It just wasn't what I'm sure that's why I got canceled. Because it was like people are like, "Oh, those dope movies with Nicolas Cage. Oh, he's not in it. Okay, what am I doing here?"
Yeah, like it should have been their kid. Do that thing.
Yeah, fine. Or just do Nicolas Cage having another adventure with or without Diane Kruger if she's unavailable.
Maybe he didn't want to come back for that. I don't know.
Come on, pay the man. He'll be there. It's Nicolas Cage we're talking about here.
I don't know. He's in his weird era.
He's in his good era.
Yeah. But it's his weird era. It's like good weird stuff.
But yeah, I feel like you get Turtle Taub back, you pay everybody the money, and they'll be there. Give me another one. Give me another National Treasure movie, you cowards. They're
and
fun.
send it in my hometown again.
Yeah. No, I live in DC now. I want you to set it here again.
No, be like, so I can be like, oh look, they're inventing Terminal Market.
Yeah. I could do the same thing now. Those movies are great because one is set in Philadelphia and one is set in DC. I win both ways.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the sequel in a while.
Anyway, I do recommend this. It sounds like Andrew definitely does not.
I don't. It's
but
boring.
I like this. I thought it was sweet, and it is low key. It's a hangout movie. It's like a summer camp. Michelle, I think, said in the chat when we pulled this name out of the hat, she was like, it made me want to go to summer camp, and I could totally see that. If you saw this when you were like the right age for summer camp, you would have been like jazzed for the idea of summer camp. I think.
Yeah.
You maybe not. I would.
Yeah. I can see it.
There's gonna be snacks and other nerds. It's gonna be great. I also like that they paired up the fat kid and the nerd. I was like, again, I could not be in this movie more unless I was in this movie.
That's fair.
Yeah, but anyway, I would recommend it. You mentioned just a second ago, over on Patreon, we've got a great episode, the Andrews TV Grab Bag Spectacular, where we watched
it was the
Barbie
Channel
and the Rockers.
Channel Surfing Spectacular.
Oh, yes. Sorry. We watched Barbie and the Rockers and the Fraggle Rock and a Beetlejuice cartoon episode and talked about those. So go check that out there. Patreon.com/dissectingthe80s. You get a ton of bonus content when you sign up, and it's all available at the $5 tier. So go check that out. Plus the first 70 some odd episodes of this show that aren't on the main feed anymore. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, please go review the show. We read those on the air, and it's been a little while since we had one. Thank you for listening. Check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. It's at Dissect the 80s on Twitter. We asked some questions in this episode. If you have the answers to them, send them our way. If you're a Canadian listener who watched Littlest Hobo, give us the deets. I want to know about this dog and his adventures.
Yeah, and if you could think of another hangout movie.
Yeah, any hangout movies. Hit us with them on the Dissecting the 80s at Dissect the 80s on Twitter. Or on the Facebook. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back. Our next episode will be on the Michael J. Fox, The Secret of My Success. So go track that one down. I think you'll probably have to rent it. And we'll see you in 2 weeks for that. Thank you so much for listening. I've been Trip Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next time.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.